Hello, today I'm going to talk about classroom speaking activities. Today's world requires that the goal of teaching speaking should improve students' communicative skills because only in that way students can express themselves and learn how to follow the social and cultural rules appropriate in each communicative circumstance. As we all know, while learning a second or foreign language, the main goal is to learn how to communicate, to speak to other people. So, in order to teach second language learners how to speak in the best way possible, some speaking activities are provided below that can be applied to ESL and EFL classroom settings together with suggestions for teachers. To teach speaking means to teach ESL learners to produce the English speech sounds and sound patterns, to use words and sentence stress, intonation patterns, and the rhythm of the second language, and to select appropriate words and sentences according to the proper social setting, audience, and situation, and to use languages fluency, obviously. If we think about it, younger students learning a second language treat being in class like being on the playground. Got a couple bumps and bruises during the football game, brush yourself off and keep playing it. Made a few English mistakes, laugh it off and keep chattering away. And that's how it should be. The English classroom is the perfect place to make English mistakes. That being said, speaking out loud in front of other people, especially in a second language, can be nerve wracking for anyone, not depending on the level, so it could be beginning, intermediate, or advanced, but teachers should be the ones to help ease the process. The first activity is show and tell. Students can be asked to bring to school an object to show and tell about, and we should encourage students to ask questions about each other's objects. This is a very good activity because students usually bring something that is very meaningful to them, so they're very happy to talk about it. We could also provide an object of our own and ask them to try to explain what they think it is and what its purpose is. Another option is to bring in pictures for them to talk about. Another activity is storytelling. Students can briefly summarize a tale or a story they heard from somebody beforehand, or they may create their own stories. Another take is to create a story on the go. One student starts with a sentence, and others should add one sentence at a time to make the story interesting. This fosters creative thinking and also helps students express ideas in the format of beginning, development, and ending, including characters and setting. Storytelling can also be used as a way to get the attention of the class, so the teacher may call a few students to tell short riddles or jokes as an opening of the class. In this way, not only will she address students' speaking ability, but she will also get the attention of the class. Another activity is pair work. The most used excuse by students learning a second language is, but I don't have anyone to talk to, I don't have anyone to practice the language with. That's why we should help students find that environment in the classroom. But of course, it comes with difficulties. Two class troublemakers reaching for each other's hands, the shy kid in the class trying to become invisible. We all know that students like to work with their friends in a pair work. And students doing pair activities can often try to skip off doing the activity at hand. Shy students can be tempted to let their partner do all the work, and it can also be tough for teachers to make sure that the students who are actually working are speaking correctly. That's why we should make the pairs. If you know that two students are particularly good at conjugation, it might be interesting to put them together so that they have a real challenge. If one student is exceptionally shy, do not put them with the loudmouth of the class, they'll only be overshadowed. We should also monitor their work, gently remind students how to properly use language, and try not to overcorrect them. Not only does it reinforce correct use of English, but it also ensures students that you're listening. This way, they're sure to give the pair work activity their all. Another activity is investigative journalist. So basically, students interview one another in pairs and present their findings. It can be used for groups of any level as long as we tailor it to their needs. So, if we're talking about beginners, we may do a simple version of the game, asking their partners about their family structures, favorite colors, and foods or pets. If we're talking about intermediate students, we could use investigative journalists to practice past tense structures by asking about their interlocutor's childhood. And if we're talking about advanced students, we might also use a murder mystery version of the game, where each student is assigned a character to play and the game concludes with the murderer being sussed out as a result of the questions. Another activity is discuss and debate, but this should be used with more mature students. They can discuss and debate issues with a partner, and they can even be told which side of the argument they should each try to promote. This is really good because usually more mature students have really have some subjects that they're really passionate about, so they really like to debate about them. It can also help because working with a partner or small group first gives an opportunity to develop and practice the necessary vocabulary to speak confidently in a larger forum. In this way, even if they're not familiar with the subject at hand, they learn new vocabulary and new words. Now, some advice. We should provide maximum opportunity for students to speak the target language by providing a rich environment that contains collaborative work, authentic materials and tasks, and shared knowledge. So all these activities that we talked about, they all provide maximum opportunities for students to learn to speak as confidently as possible in the target language. We should also try to involve each student in every speaking activity, even the ones that are not very confident about it. For this aim, we should practice different ways of student participation. We should try to reduce teacher speaking time and step back sometimes and just observe. And we should also indicate positive signs when commenting on a student's response. We should also ask eliciting questions such as, "What do you mean? Tell me more about it." In that way, they know that they're being listened, and it also prompts the students to speak more. We should also provide written feedback like, "Your presentation was really great. I really liked it." And do not overcorrect students' pronunciation mistakes because it can distract them while they're speaking. We should also involve speaking activities not only in class but outside the class. So, for example, if you're in the hall and you see your student, you could take them by surprise and talk to them in the foreign language because they're not used to speaking outside the classroom. We can also provide the vocabulary beforehand if needed, so that depends on the level of the students. If they're familiar with the subject, they probably don't need it. Diagnose problems faced by students who have difficulty in expressing themselves in the target language and provide more opportunities to practice the spoken language. This kind of sums up what we said. In conclusion, teaching speaking is a very important part of second language learning. The ability to communicate in second language clearly and efficiently really contributes to the student's skills. Therefore, it is essential that language teachers pay great attention to teaching speaking rather than leading students to pure memorization. With this aim, various speaking activities such as those listed above can contribute a great deal to students in developing basic skills necessary for life. These activities make students more active in learning process and at the same time make their learning more meaningful and fun. This presentation is just another example of how speaking affects the learning process. These are some resources. Thank you very much. Bye.